Good morning. State's next witness.
State calls Agent Jim Thiele.
Raise your right hand. You promise testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Have a seat. Proceed.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
My name is Jim Thiele. I'm a special agent with the Division of Criminal Investigation based in Mason City, Iowa.
That's Thiele.
That is correct.
Tell us what you do for a living.
I work for the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation in the Major Crime Unit, which is a area of 29 counties in north central and northeast Iowa. There are 6 other agents besides myself that work in that area along with the supervisor, and we assist city and county law enforcement agencies and county attorneys with investigations that they're working on.
How long have you done that?
I worked for the DCI since June of 2007.
Where did you work prior to that?
I worked for the Iowa Department of Public Safety, both in the state fire marshals and DCI are both in there. I started my employment with the Department of Public Safety in the state fire marshal's office in January of 1990.
How does that work? Department of Public Safety is the top of the chain, correct?
Yes, it's the Department of Public Safety is a department that is comprised of the Iowa DCI, the State Fire Marshal's Office, the Division of Narcotics Enforcement, the Iowa State Patrol, and we have a Division of Intelligence that was added several years ago.
Describe your current duties.
As I said, I'm assigned to the Major Crime Unit in DCI and work the 29 counties in north central and northeast Iowa. And what we do is we assist local and county law enforcement agencies with major felony type cases, including death investigations, kidnappings, sex assaults, a whole bank robberies, any type of major felony crime.
You said that you assist, so how do you get called into a case?
We're usually requested by either a local police department, sheriff's office, or the county attorney can also request our assistance for their investigations.
Can you tell us what a typical day is for you?
Life in DCI does not really have a typical day. I'm assigned to a 29 county area. My office is in Mason City, and I think since I started working in DCI, I've not really had a typical day. I basically, as I tell people, my office is parked outside. It has 4 tires and a gas card. So with the 29 counties and the number of cases we have, both current and past cases that we're doing follow-up on, I can be anywhere in that 29 counties.
Do you have set hours?
According to my contract, we're supposed to work approximately 8 to 4:30. We can shift our work schedule based on when people are available for interviews and whatever works out best for us. So supposedly it's 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, but it's basically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So
A lot of times you get a phone call in the middle of the night and need to go to a crime scene, right?
that is correct. We are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless we're on vacation. Excuse me, I have a little bit of cold. But yes, we can get called out at any time of the night. We can work, a 12-hour day and get home and be home for a few minutes and get called out again. So there are only 7 of us that cover 29 counties. So,
What is your educational background?
I graduated from high school in eastern Iowa and then attended college in Arizona for approximately a year. Decided I was paying too much money for too little education, so came back to Iowa. Got my EMS certifications and worked on a couple paramedic services in the mid-'80s and was director of another ambulance service. And then I started working with the state of Iowa in January of 1990.
And what type of training have you had to hold the position that you do?
When I was employed in January of 1990 with the state of Iowa, I ended up going in later in 1990. I worked for about 8 months before going to the DPS Academy. The Department of Public Safety has their own academy, separate from the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy, for all the people in the Department of Public Safety. I went to their academy and started in August of 1990 and graduated in November of 1990. And so it was a 16-week, I believe, academy, law enforcement academy.
Do you have to do continuing education every year?
Yes, we do. We have required training such as firearms and tasers, and we do, on our annual training, we have all the certifications that are required by the state of Iowa to be a peace officer that we have to do, defensive tactics and other things. We also do interview and interrogation type training, crime scene training. We have continuing ed all the time.
And you are a certified peace officer in the state of Iowa.
I am.
I'd like to talk to you about August 30th, 2017. Were you called out to assist with an infant death investigation?
Yes, I was.
When were you called?
I was notified a little after, sometime after 1 p.m. that afternoon, and we were actually, all the agents in our zone were in Cedar Falls for some training at the State Patrol building there.
Where did you go to?
We responded to the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Office.
What time did you arrive?
2:43 p.m. on August 30th.
And who did you meet with when you arrived at the Sheriff's Office?
I met with now Chief Deputy Reed Palo, who was the investigator up there at the time, and also Special Agent John Turbot of the DCI and Special Agent Chris Calloway.
And John Turbot and Chris Calloway, they're in your zone.
That is correct.
Well. So what did you do when you first arrived?
We met with Reed Palo, and Reed briefed us on the investigation they had, the response that they'd made to Alta Vista earlier in the day, and briefed us on what they knew up to that point.
And fair to say at that point, what they knew was they had a dead infant. Is that right?
Yes.
What were you assigned to do?
Special Agent John Turbot, on each of our cases when we go assist another agency, we assign one of our agents in our zone to be what we call the case agent. They're responsible basically for, at the end of the day, doing the report. We combine all of our information into a report. They're responsible for that. They are also responsible for assigning tasks to the other agents that are helping them, such as myself. And Special Agent Turbot had assigned me to write the search warrant for the residence.
You did that?
I did.
Was the search warrant approved by a judge?
It was.
Do you know about what time that was?
I believe it was approximately around 5:30 that night.
Once you had the warrant signed, what did you do?
After I got the warrant signed, I made copies at the sheriff's office, and then we proceeded up to Alta Vista, and then we executed the search warrant once we got up there.
You said you were assigned to write the search warrant. Were you at this point assigned to be basically the crime scene person?
Yes, in the conversation we had with Reed Palo earlier in the afternoon when he was telling us about the case, they had been in the apartment and basically knew the layout of the apartment and were able to make some observations while they were in there. And he basically described what he had seen when he was in there. So, yes, I was assigned to write the search warrant and then go out and execute the search warrant and do the crime scene.
You went to 107 South Hilltop, apartment number 7 in Alta Vista?
I did.
And that's in Chickasaw County?
That is.
When you arrived there, what did you do?
When I first arrived at the crime scene in Alta Vista, I went and met with the sheriff and Deputy Rousel the deputy that were at the door, and found out that the 2-year-old girl that lived in that apartment had been taken to a neighbor's house. So I went over to Jennifer Schreiber's apartment and actually saw the 2-year-old, who's named Nala, to see how she was doing, make sure she was okay, make sure that Jennifer could actually watch her, because I knew it was going to be a while before anybody else was at the scene.
We heard testimony Nala was almost 2 or 20 months at the time. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you notice any obvious health concerns for Nala?
No, when I went into Jennifer Schreiber's apartment and saw Nala, she appeared to be the typical almost 2-year-old, 20-month-old child. Didn't notice anything out of the ordinary, really.
After you checked on Nala, what did you do?
After I checked on Nala, I started taking, when we go to our crime scene, the first thing we do before we move anything, of course, is take overall photographs, both exterior and we then go into the interior and take photographs. And I started with my exterior photographs outside of the building. And this apartment is actually a 3-apartment building complex in Alta Vista. So I took photos around the apartment that we were looking at 107 was a building of 4 apartments that sat sort of on the south central portion of the property. And there were other buildings that sat just to the north, both east and west of that. So I took overall photographs of the scene.
And is that standard procedure for photographing a crime scene? You start with the big picture and then move into the smaller details?
Yes, we always start from the outside and work our way in.
Now, while you were doing this and taking photos and executing the search, did you stop at any point to speak with someone from the Department of Human Services?
Yes, one of the deputies made me aware of the fact that there was a representative from the Department of Human Services at the scene, and she asked to speak to me, so I went outside and talked to her. She asked about going into the apartment, and I told her that was not going to be possible at this point. So I talked to her outside.
And was she there in regards to Nala?
She was.
After speaking with her, did you go back to searching the apartment?
I did. I went back to actually, at that point in time when she arrived, I was still photographing the apartment. The search hadn't begun yet.
How long were you at the apartment that day?
I arrived at the crime scene at approximately 6:27 p.m. and I left the crime scene at approximately 11:13 p.m.
We're going to go back in just a little bit in regards to the pictures of the apartment, but I want to finish up with a few other things first. After the search warrant, did you conduct any interviews the following days?
Yes. We were initially called on August 30th, and I went back 2 days later, and I ended up going to do a neighborhood canvass along with Reed Palo up in Alta Vista to all the neighbors in the apartment complex to see what they had seen and if they had additional information for the investigation.
And following those interviews, did you have any further involvement in this case?
Short of returning the search warrants that I had gotten and the addendum that I got on September 1st, I returned those to the clerk of court, and that concluded my involvement in the case.
All right, let's go back to the search of the apartment. We've already heard from Deputy Russell about his initial entry to the apartment, and he had taken some photographs as well. What was your purpose in going back through?
When the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Office first arrived at the scene, and they took some initial photos when they were there, but they did not document the entire scene, the entire apartment. So I went back to document, as I said, both the exterior and interior of the apartment, and I took several hundred photographs. They had taken a handful of photographs, which is not uncommon. They were taking photographs of some main things that they had seen in the apartment.
When you do a search of a residence, do you always know what you're looking for, or is it just that you're going in to see what is there? When we go to a crime scene investigation, yes, we don't always know what evidence necessarily is. That's why we try to document thoroughly the entire apartment and all the areas of the apartment before we search anything. Because sometimes before the search begins, there might be things that later become evidence in the case or maybe important to the case that we may not know about. So we try to document everything in place before we search. What was the temperature like when you were at the apartment?
As was mentioned, we were called on August 30th, and the temperature that day was probably a typical August day. I think the temperatures were somewhere in the 70s.
Inside of the apartment, were there thermostats for each room?
There were. The living room had a thermostat, the master bedroom, and then the room that Sterling was found in each had a thermostat.
Was this a big apartment?
No, it wasn't. It was a fairly small apartment, 2 bedrooms, a living room, kitchen, and bathroom.
basically is what made up the apartment.
Let's talk about the living room. Did you look at that thermostat?
I did. I looked at the thermostat in the living room for the electric heat. It was the baseboard heat in the rooms is what thermostats were for.
And what was the living room set at?
That thermostat appeared to be in the off position. It didn't appear to be on.
Was there a fan in the living room?
There was.
I'm sorry, a ceiling fan?
There was a ceiling fan in the living room.
How about what we've been calling the master bedroom? Was there a thermostat in there?
There was a thermostat in there.
What was that set up?
I believe that was turned off also.
The room that Sterling was in, that had a thermostat?
It did.
What was that set up?
That thermostat was not in the off position. It was at a temperature that I estimated to be between 63 and 65 degrees.
Did you do anything to check the actual temperatures of the room?
After I arrived on scene and was taking photos and had noticed as I was walking through the apartment that it seemed to be warmer, especially in the room that Sterling was in, I contacted Reed Palo, the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Office, and had him stop and buy a new thermometer and bring it to the scene. And then I checked the temperatures in the living room area, in the master bedroom, and in Sterling's room.
About what time did you do this?
I believe it was a little after 8 o'clock that I started, and when I checked the temperatures in all of these rooms, I checked the temperature the same height off the floor. It was approximately a foot off the floor is where I was checking the temperature, which was the same height roughly as where the baby swing height was. So that would have been the temperature down where Sterling was near ground level.
And you're aware that police initially arrived at the apartment around 1 o'clock, is that right?
I am aware of that, yes.
And also during the time through the afternoon, I assume doors had been opened and people had been in and out.
Well, my understanding from what Reed told us is that once the first responders arrived at the scene and had gone in and determined that the child was deceased, that they ended up securing the scene, and I don't believe anybody else was in there until I arrived to take my photographs later in the evening.
So you checked temperatures of the room. What was the temperature of the living room at around 8 o'clock that night?
Excuse me. The temperature in the living room was 77 degrees.
What was the temperature in the master bedroom?
The temperature in the master bedroom by that thermometer that we got was 76 degrees.
And what was the temperature of Sterling's room?
Sterling's room was at 81 degrees.
Now we've heard testimony from different people about the change they felt from walking from the living room into Sterling's room. Did you feel that by the time you were there?
Yes, there was, as I went through to take pictures and first stepped into Sterling's room, the difference in air temperature as you walked in there was noticeable. I mean, as I told one of the investigators, it seemed to me like it was probably between 10 and 20 degree difference. I mean, it was noticeably warmer in the room that Sterling was in.
Was there any air movement in Sterling's room?
There was not.
Was the ceiling fan running in the living room?
Yes, the ceiling fan was on in the living room when I got there.
Was there a fan in the bedroom, the master bedroom?
Yes, there was.
Did Sterling's room have a fan?
It did not.
Right, you said that this apartment was fairly small. Have you looked at Exhibit 92, which is a diagram of measurements of the apartment?
I have.
And is 92 a true and accurate depiction of that apartment on that day?
Yes, it is.
State would offer it states Exhibit 92.
Any objection? It's admitted.
Permission to publish.
Any objection? Granted.
I'm going to hand you a pointer so you can point to us where you're speaking about, and maybe if you'd want to stand back here so Barb you can be facing her when you talk. Okay, that's that's okay with the board.
I would ask for a report. That's okay with you, Mark?
All right, I have State's Exhibit 92 on the screen. Please show the jury where you walk into the apartment.
The front door of the apartment's down here in the lower left corner.
And when you walk in, we've heard testimony that you walk right into the living room. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Approximately what size is that living room?
15 feet by, sorry, my bolts. So the living room is 15 feet east to west, and then the measurement that I don't actually have a measurement from the living room area, which is from this north wall where it says living room, just to the left of that, up to this separation wall, which is the kitchenette. The overall measurement between the living room from north to south through the kitchen is 23.5 feet.
And the living room is somewhat open to the kitchen, correct?
That is correct.
So if I walked through the living room and went back to the bedrooms, it seems like there's an open square there. What is that?
This area, as you come in the front door, you can actually see back into the apartment. This is a short hallway in this area that leads off to the master bedroom on the upper left corner of this picture, Sterling's bedroom in the upper right corner, the bathroom on the right side in the middle of the picture, and this closet here just to the west side of that hallway.
Approximately how big is the master bedroom?
The master bedroom is 10.6 feet by 13.4 feet.
And approximately how big was the room that Sterling was in?
That room was 12.7 feet by 9.7 feet. 12.7 from north to south in the middle of the room, and then it was 12.7 from the outside wall to the widest point of the room.
It looks like with the bedroom doors and the bathroom door that you could just take a step or two and be in another bedroom or in the bathroom. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you take photographs to document the crime scene, as we talked about earlier?
Yes, I did.
Have you had the opportunity previously to look through State's Exhibits 38 through 90?
Yes, I did.
And are those photographs accurate depictions of the photographs that you took that day?
Yes, they are.
State would offer Exhibits 38 through 90.
Any objection? It is admitted.
Permission to publish?
Granted.
All right, I'm going to ask you to walk back down here. Sorry. I have Exhibit 38 on the screen. Please tell the jury what we're looking at and where you were at when you took this photograph.
Okay. We are at the northeast corner of the apartment complex here at the bottom of the photograph. West, this is an alleyway down on the north side of the apartments. It's on the north side of the three buildings. As I told you, there are three buildings in this complex. The east one being here on the left center portion of the photograph. The right one, you can sort of see an outline of the building there. And then the south building, we will see in another photo, but it sets off to the left.
Let's go to State's Exhibit 39. Tell us where you're at when you took this photograph.
I'm standing in between the, in that little alleyway, the gravel area that I showed you in the last picture. I'm standing on the north side of the apartment complex, looking directly south. So the two other buildings in that last photograph are just north of this center, south center building, both on the left and the right.
basically a horseshoe.
It is.
Is this the building where apartment number 7 was in?
It is.
Can we see in Exhibit 39 which apartment building belonged to the defendant?
In the south apartment building, apartment 7, are these two double windows go into the living room area, and this single window goes into the master bedroom area.
Exhibit 40, what are we seeing there?
This is a picture at the entrance on the north side of that south building that apartment 7 is in. Looking down the hallway with the screen door on the right here is open, so we're looking in the hallway looking south.
So if I went to visit someone in that building, that's the door I would walk through and I could see that hallway with the rest of the apartment entrances, correct?
Correct. This is the north entrance door. There's also an entrance door on the south.
Exhibit 41, is that the hallway then?
Yes, I had stepped in from where the previous picture was taken, and as you look down the hallway, that is the south entrance door into this apartment building.
And where is apartment number 7 in relation to where you're standing?
Apartment number 7, off of this photograph, would be on the lower left-hand side here towards us. Apartment 5 is at the far end of the building, and 6 is across the hall on the right, and 8 is over on the right side of the picture. So 7 is on the lower left. So the door would be
So when you walk in the front door, you just take a left and there's apartment 7.
correct.
Exhibit 42, is that what we're looking at in that photograph?
Correct. We could see the closets, storage closets in the hallway. On that other photo, you can actually see the door to apartment 7 and all that's in here.
Exhibit 43, what is that a picture of?
That's an overall picture of the door to apartment 7.
And just to be clear, when you were doing this search warrant, Sterling was still in the house, correct?
That is correct.
He hadn't been moved yet?
No, after, as I said, the sheriff's office initially made their first responder call, and they decided they knew he was deceased, saying they were securing it, and nobody else had been in there to my knowledge.
And that's normal procedure in a crime scene where someone is deceased, that basically that person becomes a crime scene as well, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 43. Oh, I said 43. Exhibit 44. Have you opened the door now to the apartment?
I did.
People have talked about when you go in the front door, you can see the back bedroom that Sterling was in. Can we see that in this photograph?
You can. Over to the right side of this picture, between where the door is and the wall on the east side of the living room, that sliver there is the room that Sterling was in.
In Exhibit 45, where are you at when you took this photograph?
Still in that doorway area coming into the apartment, the west side of the apartment looking to the east.
But tell us about some of the things that you saw in the living room. Like there's a pink item in front of the couch. What is that?
Here in front of the couch is a child's playhouse, and there were some toys scattered throughout the living room area. There's some tractors over here along the east wall, and some other toys in the room area.
Normal toys for a 20-month-old.
Yes.
Exhibit 46.
This is another photograph of the living room area, and I was panning to the right of where the initial photograph was taken along the east wall. Again, Sterling's room is this open doorway, sort of the top left center of this, top left corner of this picture. This door that you see is the door to the bathroom in that short hallway.
And that's the door to the right of Sterling's room.
That would be correct.
Exhibit 47. Where are you standing at when you took this?
Basically in the same spot inside at the west wall by the entrance door to apartment 7, looking to the south into the kitchen area.
Exhibit 48. Where are you at now?
This is the east wall of the living room area. This pink chair in the center of the picture, the Minnie Mouse chair, was blocked by the couch. So this is had moved in further to get an overall of the chair and the other toys that were in that area.
And again, a chair that a 20-month-old could use.
Certainly.
Exhibit 49. Where are you at now?
I'm in the living room and actually looking toward the west and northwest of the living room. The entrance door is here at the top left corner of this picture as the door that I entered into this apartment with. I'm looking back toward that main door to this apartment.
And what types of things are we seeing there on the couch?
There were blankets and I believe a pillow or two on the couch. Looked like blankets that a young child between 1 and 2 years old might be using.
Is that a stuffed animal on the couch?
I believe that's a stuffed animal in the living room.
And going past the couch to the right side of the picture, were those more toys and stuffed animals?
Yes, in the right side of the picture along the north wall of the apartment were toys, and there were some other storage here, including dog food that was in a bag back behind that cardboard.
Exhibit 50, is that the dog food you were talking about?
It is.
Were you aware the defendant had a dog in the apartment?
There was no dog in the apartment when we arrived. My understanding was maybe there was a little bit of time lapse in between when the incident happened and when law enforcement was called. Everybody was out of the apartment, of course, when we arrived, but there was no dog anywhere to be found.
The dog had been removed before police came.
That was my understanding.
How full was that bag of dog food?
I believe it was approximately between a third and a fourth container.
And Exhibit 51 will show us that. Did they also have, did you see any dog dishes, dog napkins, things like that?
Yes, in the master bedroom there were a couple bowls that looked like they might have been for a dog for food and water.
Exhibit 52. This looks like a thermostat. Which room are you in when you took this?
This thermostat is in the living room. And overall to show the light switches in the living room and then the thermostat.
And 53,
This is a close-up of the thermostat in the living room.
and that's set to the position of off.
Is my belief is that it was off.
Exhibit 54, what is that photograph of?
54 is a photograph looking northwest in the apartment toward the front door and the north wall. The front door is on the west wall and the north wall is here.
And it includes the ceiling fan, is that right?
Correct.
And that ceiling fan was on?
Yes, if you notice in the picture, the blades look a little blurry. That's because the fan is moving at the time the picture was taken.
And was it your understanding that that ceiling fan was on when the police initially arrived?
That was my understanding, is that they had not turned on any fans.
Exhibit 55, we're in the kitchen now?
We are.
Are you standing more in the doorway of the kitchen at this point?
Yes, I'm just south of the entrance door in the apartment, looking south into the kitchen.
Exhibit 56, what do we see in this photograph?
I am panning from the refrigerator that's on the west wall on the right side of the picture, just going further left counterclockwise in the kitchen area.
So again, a very small kitchen, correct?
It is.
What types of things did you see in the kitchen?
There were some dishes in the sink. There was some baby formula sitting on the counter, sort of in the left center of this picture, a couple of containers of baby formula in there. There was some baby wipes sitting to the left of the stove.
I'm going to put up Exhibit 57. You said there was baby wipes to the left of the stove. Can we see those in this photograph?
Yes, you can. Baby wipes are here, sort of in the center of the picture. The container just to the left of the bird of the stove.
What is that on the stove with that below?
Light. I don't know if it's all the way light.
Exhibit 58. Looks like you just panned over to the right in the kitchen.
I did. I panned back over as I was trying to take a picture again of the east wall. It started on the left side, to the left of the stove, and panning back to the right.
What are those things that we see on the countertop in the back there?
I I think there were some pop containers back there. Again, the baby formula was in the front, and miscellaneous other items.
And was it your understanding that Jason Russell had taken the baby formula out of the cupboard and set them on the countertop?
Yes.
Exhibit 59. Looks like we're in a cupboard there.
This is the cupboard above the stove. This is the hood of the stove area. That's the cupboard above that.
What types of food do we see in that photograph?
There's some macaroni and cheese and cremette noodles, along with snacks for kids, including Ritz Bits and some other snacks that are in the cupboards there.
Exhibit 60. Why did you open the refrigerator to take a photograph?
As I said, we try to thoroughly document our scenes, and so I opened the refrigerator just to see what was stored in the refrigerator. We quite honestly, find evidence in our refrigerator and freezers. People have a tendency to sometimes hide things in there. We normally open the door and take an overall picture and find out what's in there.
And in this particular case, you didn't find anything hidden in the refrigerator, did you?
We did not.
What kind of food did you find in there, though?
There were eggs, there's some chocolate milk, cola, there's some cheese in the door of the refrigerator. I believe it was cottage cheese. I believe that's what that is on the shelf. And there were hot dogs in one of the Christmas doors, I believe.
Exhibit 61. You obviously left the kitchen. Where are you at now?
I'm standing looking to the southeast and towards the short hallway. Again, the bathroom is on the right here, and Sterling's room is up here in the upper left-hand corner, with the door partially open.
What is it that we see in the corner there between the two doors?
Vacuum cleaner?
And that was just sitting out?
It was.
Exhibit 62. What is that?
This is standing in that short hallway looking back to the west, and on the east end of the hallway looking back toward the west. So this is that closet I was telling you about. The back of this closet is the wall of the kitchen area.
What types of things did you find in the closet?
Found videos on the shelves that a young child might watch. There might have been other videos in there that there were some that young kids might watch. I also found an old Pampers box that was being used to store other materials for the diapers.
And it looked like it was fairly neat.
Yes, closet seemed fairly organized.
Exhibit 63. Are you still at the closet, but you've turned around towards Sterling's room?
I have. I'm at the east end of that, east side of that hallway looking to the west. But we're all photographed the door to Sterling's room.
And we see a quilt hanging on the wall. What was that covering?
That was covering the windows, built in between the edge of the door.
Exhibit 64. Again, you just turned your body and now you're looking in the bathroom?
Yes, I'm looking sort of south, a little southwest into the bathroom area from that hallway. And the door to this here bathroom was open a little bit. Excuse me, was open, not wide. So I was taking a picture, overall picture in the bathroom.
And again, just a few steps from the bathroom door and you're in Sterling's room, is that right?
That's correct.
And that bathroom is an adjoining wall to Sterling's room?
Yes, the east wall of the bathroom is the west wall to Sterling's room and closet.
Exhibit 65. What are we looking at there?
In the bathroom, from the overall picture I took, I then panned to the right and took an overall photo of the bathtub area, which had some toys in it, along with a wastebasket.
Toys that a 20-month-year-old or 20-month-old could use when they're taking a bath?
Yes.
And that's a wastebasket in the tub?
Yes.
Did it look like it had just been washed out?
I don't, it may have been, I don't know.
Exhibit 66. Where's that at?
This is in that bathroom area. As I said, the door was completely open. Behind the door, I had closed the door, photo, and found the potty chair and the mop bucket.
Exhibit 67. Where are you standing at now?
I am back in that short hallway just outside the bathroom door, looking to the northeast into the master bedroom. The door of the master bedroom is here on the left.
And just a few short steps from the bathroom, you're in the master bedroom.
Correct.
Exhibit 68. Are you in the doorway of the master bedroom now?
I am.
What types of things did you see in the master bedroom?
As I pan to the right in the master bedroom, there is in the lower right corner, there is a playpen that a young child might sleep in. 20-month-old would certainly sleep in that. Their bed, blankets, and some other, I think on the bed there was a billfold and maybe a cell phone on the bed.
Exhibit 69. Again, just another viewpoint of the bedroom.
Yes, as I keep taking my pictures, I keep panning to the right to try and get a full picture of what the entire bedroom looks like.
What types of things were you seeing in that playpen?
I think there were some stuffed animals in the playpen along with the blanket.
In the back of Exhibit 69, it looks like there's some kind of toy or stuffed animal. Was that on the dresser there?
Yes, there is.
Exhibit 70. What's that a photograph of?
Exhibit 70 is a photograph of the fan that is in the master bedroom.
That fan, it's a box fan, correct?
It is.
That fan was facing towards the playpen in the crib, correct?
It was.
And what else do we see in that photograph?
Stuffed animals and children's toys.
In Exhibit 71, where's this at?
That is behind the door. The door to the bedroom is in the left center of this picture and opens to the left. Once you open that door all the way open, directly inside the door to that room is this bookshelf.
And what types of things were on that bookshelf?
There was, I believe, a purse here, and I believe these are baby bags here, and there's begging strips back in the corner on the upper right.
What's a bathing strip?
Dog treats. And this is also, as I told you before, the two bowls that we found, I believe were probably used for the dog,
Oh, on the floor there?
on the floor in front of that bookshelf.
There was also, we've already put into evidence a Hy-Vee receipt. Was that Hy-Vee receipt found in that area?
Yes, I believe it was found in this bag here.
In that bag, is that a baby bag or a purse, or do you know?
I believe it was a purse of both sizes there.
Exhibit 72, what is that a photograph of?
That is a photograph of the thermostat in the master bedroom.
And that was set off?
It appeared to be.
Exhibit 73, where are you at now?
I'm standing in the hallway, at the east end of that short hallway, in between the master bedroom. The master bedroom is to my left, and the bathroom is to my right. I'm standing looking to the southeast of the Sterling's room.
And walking out of that master bedroom, how many steps did it take you to get to Sterling's room?
It'd be in Sterling's room in less than 2 steps, probably. Definitely not.
Exhibit 74, what are we looking at there?
This, on the left side of this picture, there was a box spring mattress put against the north wall. This is the common wall with the master bedroom. And then there was a bouncy seat and a car seat in that area.
You say there's a common wall, so the master bedroom is directly adjacent to Sterling's room.
Yes, the door in Sterling's room is right here. As you open that door to the left, as it opens up, it's the common wall of the master bedroom, or the south wall of the master bedroom. It's the north wall of Sterling's room.
Exhibit 75. Is this a similar view of what we were looking at?
Yes, I think I panned a little further to the right in this photograph. Clockwise or
And it appears from the picture itself, you can tell it's a very small room, correct?
yes, it is.
You said there's a bouncy seat. I think it's self-explanatory, but tell us what you mean by a bouncy seat.
The seat here in the sort of center of the picture is a small seat that quite often young kids get put into to help soothe them when they get upset. They usually bounces a little bit. This one did. So.
Exhibit 76. What are you looking at here?
This was the east wall of Sterling's room. There was a quilt over top of the window that had shade on it. So we pulled that back just to see what coverings were on the window.
Okay, so the window did have shades on it,
Yep, it had these white knee lines in the center of the picture.
but then still had the blanket over the top of that.
That's correct.
Exhibit 77. Is that the thermostat in Sterling's room?
It is.
And where is that set at?
I estimated between 63 and 65 degrees.
Now, obviously, the heat wasn't running, was it?
No, we did not feel any heat in the wastewater heat in any of the rooms.
But as you said, that room was much hotter than the other rooms.
Yes, it was.
Exhibit 78. We're back at the bouncy seat. What do we see sitting there, that white thing on the bouncy seat?
The white thing at the bottom, lower left-hand corner of the picture appeared to be a clean blanket that was sitting in the bouncing seat.
Did it appear it's been used?
As it was folded there and we only saw the top, I didn't open it up, but it appeared to be clean.
And then what are we looking at when you go to the top of the picture past the bouncy seat?
So this is a cushion that was in the room, sitting partially into this car seat, and then a small bag that could be used as a diaper bag or something like that effect.
And is that the item that has pink on it or green on it?
The bag is the item that has the green in the upper right-hand corner. This is the car seat that has the pink trim on it.
Oh, so the pink trim, there's a pillow sitting on top of the car seat.
There's a cushion sitting here, partially on top of the car seat, leaning up against the mattress.
Did that appear to be a car seat for anything?
It did.
What is the white object that we see near the baseboard?
I believe it's a roll-up diaper.
Did you see more than one rolled up diaper in that room?
I did. There were several throughout the room.
And they were diapers rolled up with rubber bands around them, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Exhibit 79. Where are you standing at when you took this photograph?
I am standing sort of on the east side of Sterling's room, looking back to the west.
Is that the closet in the room?
That is.
And those clothes were in that condition when you came into the room. That wasn't something that the police had done going to the closet.
No, as I said before, we did any searching or moving of any items after we got the search warrant back to the scene. We didn't move any items. We documented everything in place before we did any sort of searching.
And it appears where you're standing in the bottom left-hand corner, is that Sterling's swing that he was in?
Yes, Sterling's swing is this in the bottom left-hand corner.
Exhibit 80. Did you just pan down and take a photograph here?
Yes, the last photograph, and you see my foot in the bottom center of this picture. Yes, from the picture I took previously, I just panned down toward my foot to get the picture of the Sensi material that was stacked up on the ground.
When you say Sensi material, what were those?
And I don't know that they were actually Sensi, but they are little wax discs that you can put into my wife has got dozens and dozens of them, so I'm very familiar with them. She stores them in our freezer, and she gets them out and puts them in a hot dish make the fragrance come out of the wax. When they're sitting in this in a container, you can still smell some fragrance coming out. To get all the fragrance out, you can keep them out.
Could you smell them when you were in the room?
I don't actually remember smelling the fragrance.
How many of them were sitting there? Do you know? It looks like several.
Yeah, it looks like there's at least 5 and 6.
On top of those senses, what do we see?
I have pulled a diaper, rubber bands.
We also see some pop bottles in the picture. Is that right?
I do, on the left center picture.
Those were underneath the swing?
They were.
Did you collect those as evidence?
I did not.
Why not?
Because as we were looking for evidence in here, unlike what you see on TV, we don't collect everything to get fingerprints off of them. We collect items that we believe would be of evidentiary value. And everybody or anybody that lives in this apartment would have fingerprints on there. We didn't believe anybody from the outside would come into this apartment based on what we knew. We didn't have any indications of that initially. So we did not collect them out.
You didn't feel they had evidentiary value?
No, we did not.
Exhibit 81. What is that a picture of?
This is a picture of what appears to be maybe a diaper bag. Over here at the top, sort of left of the picture, with some ointment in it, and there were some diapers and wipes and clothes, socks for a younger child.
Let's talk about that diaper bag. What types of things are we seeing in that photograph that's in it?
The A&D unit is, I've had 4 kids and have 5 grandkids, so A&D equipment is one of those ointments that you use when kids get diaper rash. That's in the bag, along with some clothing material in the bag. I don't know if that's a blanket or a burp cloth or something to that effect, is what it appears to be.
And then right below the bag, is that a set of wipes?
Yes, the wipes are right here, sort of in the center of the picture.
And to the left of the wipes, what is that?
A diaper?
An infant diaper?
Yes.
A lot of the clothes that we see in the picture, are those girls' clothes or boys' clothes?
They appear to be girls' clothes, I believe, probably more so the size for Nala versus Sterling.
If you go down, though, to the bottom right-hand corner, we see a striped outfit. That looks like a onesie.
It does.
And that would be an infant type
Yes.
clothing, correct?
Both that and the socks next to it would be they're probably the size of clothing that it is.
Exhibit 82. What are we looking at here?
So as I take a picture, again, it's still to the west from sort of the center of the room, taking an overall picture of what's in the closet, what we found there.
And from what we're looking at, it looks like a lot of pink clothes. So was the assumption those were Nala's clothes?
Yeah, as I said, based on the fact I've had 4 kids and have an idea what size they wear, this doesn't look like infant clothing to me, or something like maybe 1.5 or 2 years old would wear.
Exhibit 83. What is that a picture of?
In the last picture, we showed the left side of the closet. This is a picture of the right side of the closet on the shelf. There's a picture of a wall hanging they had that says a future princess sleeps here. I believe that was probably Nala's. They got her or something like that.
Exhibit 84. What are we looking at in that photograph?
This is an overall photograph of the swing that Sterling was sitting in. I took this picture. Having worked in the fire marshal's office investigating fires, I quite often check to make sure stuff has power to it, and identify that the power light on this was on. Again, having kids and grandkids, I'm fairly familiar with a swing similar to this. It's obvious to me that this had power to it and then plugged in, or it was still plugged in and had power to it.
The swing worked.
It did. Well, I would presume so.
Exhibit 85. Is that just a close-up to show that the power was on?
It is.
And Exhibit 86? What is that?
Showing that the power cord is plugged into the wall.
Exhibit 87. Tell us about that picture.
As I mentioned, I had the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Office go buy a brand new thermometer, figuring it has the best chance of being as close to accurate as we can coming off the shelf. They brought that to me. As I said, I checked the temperatures in all the rooms. I left the thermometer approximately the same height, about a foot off the floor, or a little more, about the same height as the swing was where Sterling was sitting. This is, excuse me, this was in Sterling's room, and after about at least 15 to 20 minutes, I let the thermometer sit in each room, right closer to a half hour, just to make sure the temperature had a chance to fluctuate up and down, get it stable. If I catch it early, I wanted to have a chance to stabilize the temperature. So after this has been in here for between 20 and 30 minutes, I took a photograph of it. The temperature and the thermometer is at 81 degrees in Sterling.
You testified earlier, though, that it felt longer than that.
Yes. Again, the temperature that's taken at 81 degrees is up on the floor, and heat rises, so it is going to probably be one higher up than it is.
Before I put up Exhibit 88, can you just tell the jury what they're going to be looking at when it comes up?
Okay. I took an overall, this picture is a picture of Sterling in the swing. It's an overall photo of what I took, how I found him lying in the swing.
And in fact...
And this is after we placed him in the body bag and before we sealed it.
Were you part of that process of taking the swing apart?
I was.
When the swing was taken apart, describe how it was that Sterling was kept in the swing part that he was in.
I've literally done hundreds and hundreds of death investigations, and what we try to do with our victims that are sent for autopsies, we try to keep them as intact as possible. That's why we left Sterling in the swing and didn't remove him. Instead of taking him out of the swing and leaving part of the evidence behind, we decided to disassemble the swing and place the lower half of the swing in the body bag so that everything that was with Sterling when it was found was taken to the state medical examiner's office. So what we did is there was a cross member that we unbolted for the swing and removed the older portion of the swing that had Sterling in it.
We'll put up Exhibit 88 now. There's a tag on Sterling. What is that?
When we send victims into the state medical examiner's office for autopsy, we always attach they call them toe tags, they attach to the toe, we attach one to the body, and then we attach one to the outside of the body bag once it's sealed, with his name on it.
Exhibit 89.
And as I said, we had that one tag inside, this is the second tag we use. It has his name at the top of the tag and other information. And then we seal it with this blue seal. We take photographs after it's sealed up and document all of this. And they document it when they go to the state medical examiner's office. That way we can make sure that our chain of custody is good and nobody's tampered with the evidence prior to going to the state medical examiner's office.
Exhibit 90.
This is a photograph that I took after we removed the chair, the swing, from this corner of the room.
You can go ahead and sit down. Thank you. We talked earlier about a high-D receipt that had been found. May I approach your honor?
You may.
So I'm going to hand you Exhibit 91, which is that receipt. Have you had a chance to look over that?
I did.
Did I ask you to go through that receipt and pick out some of the things that you saw in the apartment?
I did.
And what's the date on that receipt?
August 26th, 2017.
And this is the receipt that you found in the defendant's bedroom, correct?
Yes.
And was it in that purse? Or on the
Well,
purse?
actually, I should clarify that. It was a receipt that was found when they did the search of the property. I actually didn't find it. One of the other investigators found it when they searched the purse in the master bedroom.
Let's talk about some of the things on there. If you go to the dairy section, it says there was a AE whole gallon of milk. Did you find that in the refrigerator?
Yeah, it was. The milk that we found was the chocolate milk that was purchased at
No.
Hy-Vee.
That was the True Moon? On the first page in the dairy section?
Yes.
How much did that cost?
The gallon of milk that was bought was $4.28.
And the chocolate milk?
Sorry, this receipt is not real.
Easy to read. The chocolate milk is right.
Yeah, the chocolate milk right below it is $4.99.
And just going down a little bit, I'm skipping through some things, but there was eggs on the receipt. Did you see eggs in the refrigerator?
I did.
Skipping down farther, it says Pampers Baby Fresh. What is that?
Baby wipes.
And where did you see those at in the house?
There were actually baby wipes located in a couple different areas. One of the areas they were located in was to the left of the stove in the kitchen, and then there were some baby wipes located in the master bedroom.
If you go down farther on the receipt on the first page, I see where there's a 20-ounce Dr. Pepper. Did you see Dr. Pepper bottles in the house?
Yes, there were several pop bottles throughout the house, and Dr. Pepper was one of the bottles that we saw.
There was mayonnaise. Did you see that in the refrigerator?
Yes, we did.
Hy-Vee barbecue potato chips. Did you see that in the house?
Yes, they bought several bags of potato chips, and some were in the cupboard yet. So,
Hy-Vee cola. Was that in the house?
yes, there was containers of Hy-Vee cola, some in the refrigerator and some empty bottles on the counter in the kitchen to the right of the stove.
If you go to the second page, a third of the way down, it says Hy-Vee sour cream and cheddar. What was that?
That's potato chips, and again, they were found in the cupboards of the kitchen.
Would it help you to put that up on the screen?
Sure.
Did you see it better? They have published Exhibit 91.
Any objection? Proceed.
Does that help?
That is much clearer than this copy.
All right. We talked about the sour cream and cheddar. There's something for Keebler coconut dreams. Are those cookies?
That's my understanding. Yes, I believe they are.
There's things for, looks like Old Orchard, 100% berry.
That would be the juice, I believe, that was in the refrigerator yet.
And there was that juice in the refrigerator.
Yes.
What about Teddy Grahams? Do you know what those are?
Yes, I do.
What are those?
Snacks that kids like to eat, and sometimes adults too.
Going down farther, it appears that there was some meat bought, like ham and turkey and things, correct?
Yes.
And then hot dogs on the receipt. You saw those in the refrigerator?
Yes, I believe those were in the crisper.
Velveeta slices, were those in the refrigerator?
Yeah, they were in the door.
And what is the Capital City mixed pepper? What is that?
I think those were maybe red and green peppers, or I think there were some peppers in the picture of the refrigerator in a container. Yeah.
So several of the items that are on this receipt you saw in the apartment, correct?
Yeah, when you asked me to take this and review my photos to see how much I could find, the items that I was able to identify, and if you look in the photos of the cupboard, there are items sitting in front of other items in the back, and I didn't guess on what something was, so if I couldn't ID it 100%, I may have had an idea what it was, but if it didn't have some label on it that I could compare to here, I didn't count. So the things that I could compare and found off this receipt and still in the house was probably about 60% or a little more of the items they'd purchased were still in the apartment.
And the total amount of groceries bought on that receipt was what?
$123.52.
When you were in the apartment searching, did you notice gnats anywhere, bugs?
As I was, excuse me, as I was taking photographs throughout the apartment, in all the rooms, as I said, I took all the photographs before I allowed anybody into the apartment to search. I took all the photographs and got done with that before I allowed them to come in and search. The only place that I noticed any gnats were the gnats flying around Sterling's head in his bedroom.
Didn't see any in the kitchen?
I did not.
Didn't see any in the master bedroom?
I did not.
Did not see any in the living room?
I did not.
None in the bathroom?
No.
Just Sterling's room?
Correct.
That's all I have.
Cross?
Good morning.
Just out of curiosity, when you go to an investigation, do you coordinate with other people that might have already started an investigation, like the local deputies, sheriff, so that you don't duplicate what they did?
Yeah, that's what I said, is we met with Reed Palo, and he had told us what they had conducted up to the time that we had gotten there that day.
When you execute a search warrant, not just in this case, but in other cases, my understanding from your testimony is you're looking for things of evidentiary value, correct?
That's one of the things we're doing, correct?
Okay. Part of documenting that is taking the photographs.
Correct.
And part of documenting that, or part of the search warrant process, the execution, is seizing possible evidence.
Correct.
And without having a crystal ball, you have to sort of just rely on your judgment and experience about what may be important.
Yeah, based on what we know as the facts and our training and experience come into that.
Did you seize anything other than Sterling and the swing? Did you seize anything out of that apartment?
Personally seized, no. I had some deputies from the Chickasaw County Sheriff's Office. I don't recall that I actually seized anything. I did take photographs of the items they found when they searched. Since I was doing photographs, that's what I was basically doing, is took photographs of items of evidence that they may have found that weren't covered by the overall pictures.
So as far as the collection of evidence, taking something for further examination other than Sterling and his placement in the body bag, you weren't responsible for collecting any physical evidence?
In this case, I don't believe so.
I just want to go through a couple of the photographs.
Okay.
Actually, we'll start with 57. I'm sorry, Your Honor, can I leave the walk around in the projector? Okay, thank you. 57 is of the kitchen, correct?
Yes, it is.
Now, there's a light source on the stove, fair enough?
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
As I said, I think it was a homemade light. That's what I believe.
Did you seize that?
No.
Did you compare the top of that light with the light bulb in it with the discs or sensies, as they're referred to, that you found in Sterling's room?
No.
Are you aware if there are certain types of sensor discs that would have a setup like that where the heat source would be from a light?
Yeah, typically, most of the sensies, as I said, my wife has a large collection of them. Most of them do have a light bulb of some sort to give heat, to provide the heat for the sensi disc.
Did you take a closer up photograph? Was there any evidence of what the brand is of that, what that product is, other than that photograph right there?
No, not to my knowledge.
And you did not, seize that for evidence in this case, correct?
No, I did not.
So I'm going to hopefully have Exhibit 76 up there. It should be a photograph of the window of Sterling's room. Oh, sure. All right, Stacy's Exhibit 76. That's you pulled back the quilt in Sterling's that was hanging over the window in Sterling's room, correct?
Yes, we did.
And that identifies the blinds, correct?
Correct.
Is there any plastic on the windows?
Not that I see.
Now I'm showing you Exhibit 79. I think there were several photos of this area, but to the left down there in that along the wall, are those curtain rods?
That's what they appear to be, yes.
Do you know if those curtain rods were from windows in that apartment, or?
I have no knowledge where they came from.
Now I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 82. And that's a closer view of the closet that had the clothes that were on the floor before it. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. It appears that there's a shelf in that photograph. You see that?
Yes, sir.
And to the left up there, what is that brown object?
From this photograph, I don't know if I can tell you what that brown object is. There should be a different photograph, I think, that was taken on the left side of that shelf.
How about to the right there, that black object? Do you know what that is?
Now, for sure, it looks like a vest of some sort, but I can't tell you exactly.
No, you're looking at what's hanging in the closet. I'm talking about on the shelf again.
Oh, there should be another photo of the upper shelf. If I had that, I could probably tell you what's up there.
Did you make any effort to see what the contents were, if any, in the brown object up there or the black container up there?
Again, I photographed the scene, and I had other deputies and DCI agents did the searching. So I did not. They were searching the apartment.
So if it became an issue to determine, say, how much clothing was in that apartment for Sterling, for example, other people may have found some if they had opened up other containers. You didn't photograph that, correct?
No, I did not photograph every container they opened, correct.
Your Honor, can we take our mid-morning break at this time?
We can. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a mid-morning recess. We'll resume approximately 25 till. Please continue to heed my admonition during the recess. All rise for the jury.